Marilyn Shannon, and this is the Breaking Free Show. And I have been looking so forward to seeing you all this week. I cannot begin to tell you. You are the highlight of my day. And I'm so delighted to be here, and I'm honored that you're here with us as well. So thank you so much. I know you have a lot going on, as we all do right now, but coming together in love, in a safe space, in peace, in harmony, and together just makes all the difference in the world. So thank you so much for being here. This is your show. Remember, at all times, you can call in, you can Skype with us, you can come into our chat anytime you want. We'd love to have you. So just put your name under the video. The nickname is fine. I don't care if you want to call yourself Mr. X or Miss X, doesn't matter. Come in, share in our chat. You can ask questions, comment, whatever you like there. And during the show, you can call in to 919-518-9773, and that is into our studio directly. And then also you can come in on Skype voice. Remember, that is not a picture, that is voice. So that would be at computers, that's plural, and then the number 2K voice. So please feel free to share your roller coaster stories. So before we get on with our show, Amnon, how you doing?
Doing just fine. How are you
Good.
doing? You look marvelous.
Thank you. I'm sitting in this beautiful office, my son-in-law's office. I've been rotating around a lot. I've been watching the show. I've been in Florida, then I was home, which is only down the street, but now I'm at my son-in-law's and my daughter. So I'm in this beautiful office. I got great lights and a big chair. So if you see me kind of disappear, it's because I'm in his chair. I'm not in mine. But anyway, it's all good.
Yeah,
And
when you have a moment and Howie is talking,
yeah,
I'd like for you to stand up, turn around, and close those blinds behind you.
I well, they're as closed as they can be. So
Oh,
if you want me to
okay.
move my
All right.
spot, I
No, no,
will.
no, no, no. Never mind.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right. So we're going to be talking about the roller coaster ride that a lot of us are on right now for one reason or another. And we're going to talk about the roller coaster ride. We're going to talk about how to get off the roller coaster, maybe. You know, that roller coaster is going up, it's going down. We have all kinds of feelings. We have all kinds of experiences. That's what makes a roller coaster. And, you know, it sometimes the ride is fun, but a lot of times it is not fun. So let me introduce my guest to you today, Howie Sheriff, my dear friend Howie. How are you?
Well, we're on a nice pause on the dips for the moment, being on the show. It's been an interesting day. Some good constructive things and also some emotional releases. So it's an average day at the amusement park.
It sure is. It sure is. And yeah, that's a good way to say it. And Flo. Flo is such a lovely, delightful person. We love Flo. She is brilliant, has lots to share, and she is a beautiful, what you would call human. Flo.
Well, thank you so much. I would have to echo what Allie's saying as far as a roller coaster throughout the day, within the week, within the month, within the year. How many roller coasters can we be on? But it 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 is life, and it goes on. So let's enjoy the ride.
Well,
All
any
right.
ch-
I need to break in.
eh,
This is no. Flo, please tilt
yes.
the monitor toward you so your head goes upper in the shot. This is really bad. That's good for grandma, but not. Yeah, that's it.
Good.
Okay.
All right. So thank you. So before we really get into the nuts and bolts of this, I want Flo to tell you who she is, and then Howie's going to tell you what he does. So Flo, tell everybody what you do.
I am a physical therapist and a co-owner of Sports and More Physical Therapy. We've been here in Raleigh for going over 18 years now, seeing all kinds of patients and trying to get people back to an even higher level of activity and quality of life than when they come to see us. And that has been incredibly challenging, obviously, in the I'm also, I guess, to round out the picture, I am a wife and a mother, and of three great children who are also going through some interesting times because of their stages in life. therefore, it's created interesting stages in our lives as well. So that's who I am.
Now, I'm going to go to Howie too, but what we're going to bring these stories out because we learn from each of our own experiences. I'm living a story now. That wasn't my story before, but because of it being my story now, it's part of my experience that I get to share with other people as well. And that's what, no matter how it is, no matter how painful some of these stories are, we learn from them. And then we get to share them. And then you get to share yours. And together, we can make some peace and come together with them. So that's what we're here to do. So Howie, what about you?
Well, I'm someone who's lived in North Raleigh for, let's say, the last 40 years, and I've been a retiree for the last 12 due to disability, and from that sparked the development of a nonprofit organization that brings accessible yoga, first provincially and now to the world. So it's been an interesting path to be working so hard for a long time provincially, and then the feeling that I was creating some sort of impact, and lately have been feeling smacked down. Also, I'm a son until recently, and so I've been dealing with uh, my father, who just passed away the other week, and some of his aging, uh, and also my own medical issues. So I'm part-time professional patient and part-time aspiring leader in healing.
And that's what we're going to touch upon a lot today is no matter what the roller coaster, whatever little piece of healing you can muster up is really important. And however, you can get that, it's really important. And as you will tell, we're all in this together. So no matter, even though we're all in Raleigh, North Carolina, obviously, everything that we're going to be talking about is good for anybody in the world. And interestingly, when in your life, because I can't tell you in mine, when in your life have we all been faced with a similar scenario, almost day to day? So anywhere in the world, what we're going to tell you, talk about, what you can share with us by calling in is universal. That's the point. It's all universal. So with that being said, why don't we start, I guess, with Flo, we're going to break some things down, right? We want to talk about how this roller coaster, how it affects us physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, but not just how it affects us in the bleh, but what we do, what kind of specific things we can do without denying where we are. We can't deny this stuff. That's part of the problem. We don't want to deny it. We have to embrace it and do something with it. So Flo, you want to start?
Yes, I love how you said that. Recently in a staff meeting with my employees, that realization finally, and I say finally because I think a lot of us kept playing this one day win, if we ever get to, if we just, open up the state or we get to phase whatever, and we were waiting too long for who knows what. And so, I made the statement to my staff, hey, gang, the environment is what it is until it is. So let's embrace it. Yeah, let's embrace it and get on with it. Because if we keep waiting for one day win, we're all going to be in a lot of trouble. And isn't that true about so many things? If, for example, the things that I think about both personally and with our patients, a lot of times they can have more than one excuse for not exercising or not doing their home exercise program. They have enough excuses as it is, let alone during this time. Let's give them some more, right? And that's what we're saying. We've got to eliminate those and just live and move on. One of the things that we have dealt with just very locally and specifically, and I want to give a shout out to Health Tracks, who is the gym that is located right next to us. We, whenever the governor is going to speak, we have waited with them to hear if he is going to allow gyms to be open legally in North Carolina. And each time, each time when the announcement comes that he has not done so, it has been amazing to watch how resilient that they have been in saying, well, okay, we can still do this. We can still offer outdoor group fitness programs so people who need that group motivation can come together. We can, we can do things virtually and have classes available. And they actually have been able to open their pool and divided the pool out so that nobody's too close together, and doing things like water exercise programs. And so they provided some motivation for us as well. And a great example of, okay, we just got to change gears a little bit and maybe, change lanes. And take a little detour, but not stop driving. We got to keep on going. So, that's one of the things that we've seen with, from the physical perspective with our patients, getting creative and not allowing them or helping them. I don't know that we cannot allow them, but we can, try to be motivational for them and being creative in ways to pursue fitness and exercise and activity that makes sense to them when certain things that they've been so familiar with are not available to them anymore. So that's, one of the physical. There's lots of other ways too. We talked last time about how so many patients now, and even more so, maybe even permanently, who knows, are working from home. So continuing to, so at first maybe it was, well, I'll change my workstation for the next month or two until I get back to work. Well, guess what? Maybe that's not the way it's going to be anymore. Companies have figured out that the home environment might be the way of the future. So let's get on with it and make the adjustments we need to, or become more aware of our posture and some other things, and not just make it just because we have to now. Let's make it a permanent modification and awareness.
Flo, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Are you seeing new patients? Are you having an influx of new patients because of all of this stuff?
Yeah, we are. We're definitely seeing patients because of the home workstations. We are seeing patients because they've tried new activities that they never tried before. It might be something as simple as riding a bike that they've had in the garage forever and haven't adjusted the seat correctly. Things like that. I see that when I'm on the trail walking myself, and seeing, I want to stop people and say, raise that seat, your knees are going to hurt.
So what would you say as an overall kind of message when you are trying new things? Like when I was in Florida, I started to run a little bit, walk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't run. And sometimes I don't walk. So to combine the two was like, oh my goodness. I'm used to yoga and dancing, but I'm doing stuff. So what's the overall kind of message to send to people physically?
I think the overall kind of message is to not shut yourself out of anything, but to be smart in anything and in everything. And so what I mean by that is to start gradually, to educate yourself. There's certain principles that are true no matter what activity you're talking about, such as, basic warm up, starting on ground level. Even if you ran 20 years ago and you used to run 10 miles and now you say you're going to start again, well, guess what? Things are different now. Let's start on level ground. Let's start at a few minutes, just 5 minutes even. 5 minutes is a long time to jog if you haven't. 1 minute is long enough to jog if you haven't jogged for a while. And cut yourself some slack. It's okay. And gradually improve without issues instead of having to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. All the things that we know are true, moderation, listening to your body, being smart, doing some different kinds of things, varieties of activities. maintaining neutral spine. That's something I could go into a little bit more, but that's something no matter what you're talking about, you should be aware of, and using good body mechanics. So this is true whether you're talking about jogging, like you're talking about if you haven't done it forever, or even if you're talking about working at home and you've not done it forever. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Howie,
Yes.
what would you like to add to what you just said?
Well, it was hefty.
You know,
Part of what
I
I've
wanted to go ahead. I was going to ask you a lot about stretching.
Well, all right. So here comes the my physically disabled yoga mindset blend. Uh, Stretching is nice, but that's not what we really might benefit from most. Stretching is the culmination of using your body as opposed to warming it up. So as Flo was saying, just the idea of moving in mindful, gentle ways is what's going to add to us. Stretching, if your one's not warmed up, can lead to injury from the get-go, because what's the point of stretching? It's really uh, something to compensate for working. And if you and sitting collapsed isn't working, it's strain. So you're already in strain. Whereas I would invite, if people are sitting, to think of how they can gain length where they're seated, such as now, if how your feet, if you put your feet flat on the floor, then you can push your tush back and you could stretch your spine. That's just as important when you're walking or doing activities. But if you never know where your feet are, how do you know what else is going on? And that's how you can get injured. Uh, I particularly spend a blend of seated times and standing times, and just walking around our home, just getting outside and breaking up so that I don't fatigue from computer and my brain is not working well, so I need more sunshine. Uh, I'm walking in woods or I'm looking at my backyard, which is green. So I think getting away from the blue screen and onto a green screen, that's literally nature, not just a synthetic picture. Because a lot of us, including myself, are in a depressive state. And I need sunshine and I need a different view than whatever else is zapping me, which is a lot.
Right. So you've had a lot going on in your life, and um, going out and being in fresh air, even when it's really, really hot, has made a big difference, hasn't it?
Yes, and I'll share my father passed away. He was 99 years old a few weeks ago, and it's been a long grieving preparation and development process over the years. One can't help but feel some of that, and then to try to make room for something, and it's still much grander than what could have been prepared for. Uh, so therefore, the moving around is also to help ground me in this emotional duress.
Yeah, I'm going through some stuff, and I'm at my daughter's right now because my mother is here, and I'm taking care of her here for a week, which I had just recently took care of her for 5 months. And my daughter has a front porch. I mean, a front, like a front. It's not closed in or anything. You know, it's like goes, it wraps around the house. I can't tell you what a lifesaver. And I've been here since Saturday afternoon. What a lifesaver that has been to me. That one little porch with a wicker little sofa. I mean, I had coffee out there this morning. I sat out there yesterday just gazing on, people walking, trees, the sunshine. I mean, a Spectrum truck was interesting to me. I mean, seriously, it was just, I can't even tell you what it was like. Just
Hmm.
sitting out there. I have a, I have my phone with books on it, and there's a book I really am trying to read. Put it down. It was captive. It was so much of what I needed. Just sitting out there and just allowing myself to be enveloped and hugged with with nature, with the energy of just being outside. And I was in the front of the house, where there's cars and there's stuff, but
Hmm.
it made a big difference.
Hmm. Yeah, it's real and and beautiful in its own way.
Yes. So whatever you can grab, we need to grab a piece of. And I once again, I want to just, this is an honest conversation we're having. I mean, we have honest conversations all the time on the Breaking Free show. Today is personal and honest, and solutions, resources. We're going to talk about everything. So please feel free. If you have a specific thing going on, a need, whether it's a physical or emotional, please call in, because we've got, resources here that are happy to give you support. So 919-518-9773, or you can come in our chat and ask the question in there. Just put your name under the video. And once again, you can come in on Skype, computers, 2K voice. Flo, did you want to add anything to what we just said?
Well, I was just thinking about how much more important it is for me to be able to get outside on the water. That's my solace, But not only, and we're very fortunate that we have a boat and we can do that. But we were out there yesterday. We didn't think we were going to be able to go out this weekend. We had some problems with the boat, and 6:15 Saturday evening, we received the call from the repair shop, and they said your boat's ready. And I couldn't believe. I literally jumped up and said to my husband, "That means we can go out on the water tomorrow." And I don't know that I've ever been that excited in the past. I've maybe taken it for granted, unfortunately. And then being out there yesterday, it was just a beautiful day. But it's not only, and the statistics show that the boat sales are out the wazoo because people are getting out on the water. That's the one thing it can do. But not only that, I did notice even around the shore, there are places that people have found, and this is out on Falls Lake, and there's lots of coves and this, that, and the other, and people have found those that aren't in boats. So fortunately, they are getting out and enjoying nature, thank goodness, and it's just, I don't know, I see it in such a different way than I ever did before. And I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful we're out there almost as though we're communing, if you will, even though I may not know any of them. When you're out on the water in a boat, everybody waves at everybody because everybody's in a good mood, But even more so this year, it feels like we're thankful that we're out there, and you can, I use the word escape, but I use it carefully because, we don't want to have a false sense of, we've always used the water to escape from life itself for a little while, but even more so, but not escape it in a negative way, but just to maybe again appreciate it even more than before. And even on my walks down the trail, I find myself noticing things that I've never noticed on the trail before, for the same reason that both of you were talking about the greenness and I don't know, even just how the creek runs along the trail, or things like that. So maybe, in some ways, that's really a very positive thing that we are being kind of stopped in our tracks a little bit to appreciate, what we have right there, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, it's amazing what, even just coffee.
Yeah.
You know what? Getting a cup of coffee from the coffee shop a couple of mornings, it's the word elixir comes to mind. It has been it's become a little ritual, but more than that, it's become an elixir. It's become something that I look forward to, something that's soothing, something that is just me. It's my relationship with my elixir. with my coffee. And sometimes I don't, and and I like good coffee, and sometimes I'll even drink bad coffee and get pleasure out of it because I need it so badly. It's interesting how that has affected me. Coffee.
Hmm. Well, I've been a grand consumer for decades. Um, Even to the point when I was in dental practice, I was having some after lunch, and there was some side effects of too much coffee after lunch. Uh, but it's an interesting thing about coffee in that a big part of my career as the director was meeting people, and the coffee shops in North Raleigh were my office. We don't have a brick and mortar.
Mm.
And all of that social engagement squelched. Uh, my anxiety in being in public is unlike I've ever experienced in my life. I don't go to the supermarket. Our son shops for us. And before that, our daughter was shopping for us, had a concern for us. And now I could barely go in a store. Uh, we do
Mm.
curbside pickup for takeout. I can't go, I don't feel comfortable going in a restaurant. So, and because of some of my emotional state and being down and not wanting to eat, coffee is part of my comfort, though I do put about 40% almond milk in it and think it's nutritious. And then, and nurse that throughout the day. Uh, but it is a comfort food. It is, the challenge is I have to drink more water too because of the diuretic uh, and my arthritis. So it's an interesting coffee water dance throughout the day. So you know what that leads to.
Sure.
So I stay busy by drinking coffee.
But I really appreciate your honesty and sharing this because it's nothing. We're not. I'm not ashamed of how I feel. I'm not ashamed that I feel similar feelings as you do. It's very scary for me to go into a grocery store. I go in quick and I get out quick wherever I go. I'm scared because I want to be around my 95-year-old mother. And I don't want to get close to anything that will hurt her. And I agree, I we I and I look at myself as a big person, as a, you know, um, pretty whole, but I am still going through my stuff. And I don't like these feelings, but I'm going to feel them. I'm faced with the fear of living my normal life as well. And I'm not going to stop living. I'm digging, I'm finding my coffees, I'm finding my porches, I'm finding my greenery. I'm finding my books. I'm finding people to talk to, you know, whatever I can find that's going to give me more, I know I'm a positive person because I already know that because it's keeping me grounded. I can see it. It doesn't mean that I'm not tossing and turning at night, some nights. And it is what it is. I'm tossing and turning because you know, there's a lot going on. So but Howie, I really appreciate coming from a man in particular, and you're being as open to talk because your opening to talk is helping me talk, and I'm a talker. I'm a sharer and I'm a talker, and I'm not afraid to share that I am, I'm going through my stuff too. So thank
Mhm.
you.
Oh, yes, it's there's degrees of comfort in commonality. 'Cause it's not doesn't relieve any of it, uh, but it's comforting. Uh, yeah, because I'm scared, I'm anxious. It's and thank goodness for computers and Zoom. Uh, just having our organization pivot,
Mhm.
and because I'm an action person, uh, when I'm having the energy, that our team has pivoted and we've taken a provincial thing and now we're doing international work. meeting people from around the country and around the world. And it's thrilling. And it never would have happened without this roller coaster. The roller coaster took us to another dimension, which has been a lifesaver, just having the, this opportunity. I feel for the people that are zoomed out all day. But to engage with people has been so refreshing. Even if I've never met them before, they're people who were recommended by other people.
Yeah, yeah. Doing my work has been some of the most important elements of keeping me remember who I am and attached to what I am. So that's really a good point, Hallie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great. So, and I want to get back to what you're doing internationally in a minute. But so, Flo, I saw you shaking your head yes a couple of times.
Yeah, I was just thinking, yeah, being able to do my work sometimes, well, a lot of times, I'm going to have to tell you through this whole thing, through this whole, all of 2020 since COVID hit, I have actually had to deal with feelings of guilt because I have been able to come to work every single day. And I've driven through the neighborhood and seen people who were out walking at times where I know they usually would have been going to work. And I almost feel like they're looking at me like, you lucky dog, you get to go to work, because we're essential healthcare providers. So I was sitting here thinking about how I don't necessarily feel some of the same feelings that you do, but I have my own set of things that I have to deal with. And actually the roller coaster has provided me opportunities that I would not have been able to do either, which is going into the homes of patients. We've expanded our services there and it's been wonderful. I love going into people's homes and working with them one-on-one in their environments because I get to know my patients anyway very well, but when you see their homes, you really get to know them. And that's a roller coaster avenue that I would not have pursued. And similarly, even with telehealth visits, you get to see a little bit of their, the room that they choose to show you anyway. So that's been good too. But I was shaking my head because of just sitting here thinking again about, well, my husband and I were just talking about this the other day about how guilty I feel because he shared with me how depressed he felt. Similar to what Howie is saying. He's retired and he's like, you don't understand. I go to the grocery store, I'm in and out. I don't talk to people like I used to. And so in a relationship then where one person is much more interactive with the world than the other, then that's created challenges for he and I as well, because I'm not seeing things from his perspective and vice versa. We have to help each other do that, and not be judgmental, if you will, about, I can't think, well, you shouldn't be feeling that way. I should never tell him how he should feel anyway, right? But you see what I mean? We're coming from different worlds. So
Yes.
yeah, that's why I was shaking my head about how saying and appreciating and understanding what he was saying, and you as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because because now that you bring up the guilt part, I'm feeling that too because there are times that I am really happy. And then I'm like, how can you be happy? When I remind myself of other things going on, either in my house or right under where I am right now or in the world, I'm like, how can you be happy? And then I have to well, I go through a whole repertoire of stuff. I come back to it's okay, and I come back to that point of, being not guilty, but it has a taste of guilt involved. You know what I mean? This guilt is still kind of like a layer of it, kind of a little yuck on my happiness.
Yeah.
Howie.
Oh, it's been interesting just to feel the absence of joy so much, and to remember, even work to remember uh, a different type of happiness. it's redefining what simple pleasures are, and which is part of that mindfulness quest. But this is really in the space now of the moment. So even taking up photography more. I've been doing videos and such, and being around the house so much. I'm just very intimate with our garden that is a small garden, and the things that are happening around it, and how can I derive pleasure from what's right in front of me, uh, because I've also been feeling so dark at times that and I have to remind myself this is temporary, but to see, wow, where I used to feel so joyful, now I just feel so dark. And so it's a negotiation even of saying, well, this is temporary, but it's still painful, and it's there's a lot of wave in there, so I can appreciate how things are laced for
Right. You're
others.
pretty courageous. I mean, that's courageous. And that takes energy and a good energy to be courageous, I think. I mean, showing up here today. I mean, I was looking forward to it, but there was a part of me was like, oh, what happens if, my mother needs me? What happens if the internet doesn't work in my daughter's house? I mean, I go through that stuff, and that's traumatic to me because I take this show very seriously, and I want to show up at my best, ready to go. So you showing up today, you know, is and going out in the garden and doing all that's courageous.
Thanks. I mean, yeah, when I was melting down earlier this morning, I was thinking, am I going to melt down at 10 to 1?
Well, and it'll be interesting to see how you feel at 2:01.
Well, I'll feel fine because an exciting meeting at 2:15.
Great.
So
So
I'm staggering the good things, and I'm worse in the morning. So this is fine. But you're right about wanting to put on a good face, and I would say that the greatest strain uh, and flow to know is in the relationship is how I feel looking crappy around my spouse. I mean, that's a repeated trauma for her too.
and
And
your spouse works still.
yeah, but she's working from home,
Uh,
so
Oh,
so we're nearby, and I'm at the other end of the house now, and she's seeing clients, uh, and yeah, it's an intermittent dance. I make sure I have to move myself out when I don't feel so good. Uh, so it's an interesting about wanting to look good and yet allowing to not feel good and look good, but
and
don't want
those are
anyone
the
else to
subtle
see.
but those are the subtle things that those are either can be a trap, or in your case, you are you have enough um, courage, zest, memory of what it was, moments of joy now, whatever, or seconds from the darkness, to be able to care enough for somebody else, to not just put yourself first. Caring for
Well,
somebody else, I'll tell you what, that'll sock it to you. I mean, that makes you kind of, you know, that level that I don't know if it levels you, I don't know what you call it, whether it levels you out or what it does, but that does keep you from when you love somebody. Love. What am I talking about? Love. We're talking love. Love. When you love somebody, it keeps you, out of keeps you out of the darkness. It keeps you out of, you know,
yeah.
something, right?
Well, and it could, but it could also amplify. Let's say when our parent, and not to say, or child or spouse is suffering and repeatedly suffering, and we're a witness to that, then there's love there, but that's the vulnerability to that is, oh, this is so agonizing, and I feel it with you, and then that affects someone else, and then there's guilt for invoking that on those near and dear. So it's an interesting thing about being authentic at times, because it can feel punitive.
Wow.
Right. It's big. What are you going to say, Flo?
I want to comment. I was just sitting here thinking about how I don't currently, I'm very fortunate. My mother, who's 89, is very active and not in need of caregiving. But I was thinking about the mental strain that I have felt in regards to both my children as well as my employees. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And I mean, this just happened recently. I have a daughter who graduated from college and is having a hard time finding a job, like a lot of people who have graduated recently from college. And I feel the need to help her, be real and be okay about what she feels. This happened just recently, to tell her it's okay to feel down about it. It's okay. And to help her also not allow it to totally consume her, that she's got to stay after it and be willing to pursue whatever type of job might be out there, that kind of thing. But how you just mentioned the word authentic, and sometimes similarly with my employees who are dealing with, some of them have small children, and or children who are just starting school and their school is going to be online, and I hear them talking to their patients and interacting, and I just feel for them that they are having to deal with things they've never had to deal with before. And so trying to see things from their perspective and understand their frustration and show sympathy and empathy and compassion, that I am relating somewhat to your challenges regarding caregiving. I mean, I feel like I'm facing those challenges with my children, my other two, in different situations as well. I mean, they're 24, 23, and 20, and they're wondering what the heck has happened to our world, right? Similarly, my employees as well, like I said, and in the constant challenge of, okay, are we doing okay? Are we improving a little bit? Can we bring employees back that we've had to lay off? So that's stressful to everybody. And I have always felt the role of being the strong one, of being the rock, if you will. So that is wearing, as you can imagine. So, trying to understand your role in a situation you've never been in before is very difficult, I think.
Mm-hmm. So I'm feeling feelings. I'm feeling feelings deeper than ever before. I am more sensitive. I'm a more sensitive person than ever before. I feel where I might have brushed something off before, I don't now. So I certainly am. My being an empath is even more, is deeper. Are you having to hold on to the rock more or give it up more?
Whew, tough question.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Because I know for myself,
Mm-hmm.
I have always been I'm the listener.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm looking for people to listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's softening. That's it's not giving up my rockness because I'm that person. But now I'm like, who's got an ear? Who's got a heart? I want to share. And I'm okay with not looking like the rock and not sounding like the rock, and yet it's making me stronger. So what about you?
Well, I think my listening, as you may have said these words, to me has deepened, and it reverberates more. It's more intentional. I think I've always been a good listener as well, and I think that has helped me not. Maybe that's softened my rockness a little bit. Not necessarily, professed as it may be, but more internal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, whatever it takes. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes we think it's one thing and then it's something else, but who knows? You know, I mean, you know, I'm strong and I am still strong. It's making me a better, better me, better version of me. But yeah, rock is an interesting thing to be going through. And then, sometimes we don't want to be that rock.
The challenges of vulnerability are far and wide
Yeah.
and necessary. I've learned and continue to learn,
Especially now.
especially now. And yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons this does challenge all of our vulnerability, doesn't it?
Yes.
I'll feel, and as Howie said earlier about the commonality of it, um, even though some would like to say some are more susceptible potentially, we all are vulnerable to it. And we're certainly all vulnerable to the effects of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Apropos to rock, I like to think in metaphors. I have been a rock, and a rock is good on solid ground.
Mm.
The ground is shaky and more like sand now. It's like a shifting sand, feels like. So that's the substrate. But personally, I don't feel so much of a rock. I feel rocky.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So I am rocky with fissures and cracks, and so I'm more vulnerable to shifts in my being, and the fear is crumbling, right, and being, without form and capacity, which it feels like sometimes just going from solid to fractured, and still functioning fractured, which Flo's been a provider of mine for over a decade, and I've been fracturing for decades, it feels like. And so it's an interesting, how can I be a rock yet be resilient and know that I'm changing shape? And how can I work with the substrates that are there? So it's being rocky has become part of the terrain as opposed to an island.
Mm.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah, I would have to, I'm going to borrow that. I like that. I'm rocky too. And I think, I'm rocky too. And these things are a big deal. And I'm rocky too.
I've
So
actually been
yeah.
sharing that with cohorts to let them know that I can't perform the way that I've been performing, and I seek for them to step up more. And admitting being rocky creates a little bit more clarity because I don't have as much tolerance for other people's situation that isn't helping us.
Right.
Doesn't mean I'm intolerant. It just affects me more. My rock shakes.
So we're almost we're almost out of time, but before we do that, so just throwing certain things out there as resources. So tolerance, being less judgmental of other people, right? Um, Knowing that even those that, I mean, everybody is experiencing things. We know that, and some very deep things. Things affect your body that you experience, right, Flo?
Absolutely.
And to take time to
Yeah.
what?
Take time to address what's right in front of you, and don't wait. Don't wait. I think that's the key. Don't wait. There's no reason to wait. Don't run away from it. Don't hide from it.
And don't expect it not to affect you,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Oh,
Absolutely.
often, and I've been doing this for a while because I haven't felt great for a while, is really questioning my thoughts before I express them. because I've been very sensitive to what other people's expressions are, and I would wonder, gee, did it have to be said right then, that way, and etc. And I've come to appreciate that in this era, I'm not thinking straight, and to remember I'm under strain, and I might be thinking accurately, and whatever I'm thinking, someone else is not thinking. Very few of us are thinking exactly the same way, and how I'm reading something is likely to be different than what's being projected. I have to practice that a lot because I don't want to misstate too, because I don't want to become the offender. But
Right.
I'm very sensitive to being offended, and and I say that's not right. That's not what they meant, and to give other people uh, do-overs
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
while feeling hurt at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So, Flo, tell everybody where they'll find you.
You'll find me at Sports and More Physical Therapy. www.sportsandmorept.com is our website. And we are right here in North Raleigh and in Cary, our Cary location. Happy to help people keep moving, no matter what it takes. You don't have to hurt to come see us if you just want to move better. That's what we like to, and I just want to say again, please keep moving. Don't let this stop you in your tracks.
So you can come to Flo, or Flo or one of Flo's employees will come to you, right?
Me, yeah, I'm
You're
the
the one going. Okay.
yeah,
Want to be
yeah,
clear.
but we'll work with you.
Okay. Perfect.
Definitely.
And then Howie.
Well, we are a virtual organization at this time. The organization is called You Call This Yoga, YOU, Call This Yoga. We're a Raleigh-based nonprofit. Some of our current programming is called Summer of Love 2020, 9 free classes throughout the week through August, and we'll have more in the September. We also have something called Yoga Fest Online 3, which will be a weekend festival at the end of August.
Okay.
It's on Zoom. You could sign up for as many as 19 classes. It's worldwide. It's a diverse and inclusive. It's for different levels of experience. So you don't have to have any skill. It's chair-based, some mat-based, meditation, youth. This is part of our building community as we are looking to have more people participating in our organization. So it's youcallthisyoga.org, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Come see us. We seek team, but also we seek to be part of your wellness.
That was great.
Yeah, well,
And that was great. You're both wonderful acts to follow. So Amnon, you have my books. So we have In Just One Afternoon, Listening to the Hearts of Men, then Twins, Millennials, and very, very soon, People Impacted by Opioid Addiction, and then Black Fathers. And I do want to mention on October 9th, we're having an opioid summit. It will be virtual. We have an amazing slate of speakers. Flo is one of them. It's going to be fabulous. It's for anyone who's impacted by opioid use, whether it's a family member or somebody using. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. You can reach me at marilynshannon.com. It's going to be a full day event. It's going to be loving. It's going to be lots of resources, lots of information, and lots of people who are there to share from their heart as well. So it'll be October 9th. It'll be full day. Tickets are like $20 now, so it's really reasonable. So please reach out to me. And with that, I want to thank the two of you. I love having the two of you on. I just love how you do you, and how you just do whatever we're doing.
thank you.
Thank you very much. And
It's like having coffee.
It's like having coffee, and I am like really happy now. So thank you. So I'm
One of my
not.
favorite books.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. Oh yeah. I love that. Thank you. So Amnon, thanks so much for everything.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And everyone out there, have a wonderful week. Uh, if speak to someone, share, tell somebody how you feel. It really helps. Listen to somebody else. Keep moving. Stay active. Look outside. Have
Correct.
coffee. Right. All of those things. Whatever you can do that helps you keep going. That's legal and thoughtful too. With that, we love you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you, Flo. Thank you.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.